You might know me, Vinney Chopra, and my partner, BeauEckstein. And we come to you live at 9:30 Pacific, which is 12:30 Eastern, every Friday. Thanks for joining.
And I think, Vinney, honestly, we at some point we're going to start a affordable housing multifamily division underneath Monell Investments. I'll run the division. We'll have a nonprofit component, and we'll help.
Wow.
We could probably help this in a big way, really.
I would love that. I would love that.
Yeah.
It's been an exciting week. I hope it's been for you also. Beau, you have some questions, but yeah.
Oh, yeah. I got a lot of questions.
How are you, brother?
Good to see you, Vinney. Good to see you, Beau.
Oh, thank you. We are so privileged to have you.
Hey, Vinney, real quick.
Yeah, bud.
All right, I'll bet you sushi that you don't know what does SAS stand for?
Hi there, everybody joining us, watching us. We are live in 7 channels actually today in the YouTube, in LinkedIn, in Facebook groups and Facebook. Thanks again for liking the show. Please give comments, share, and we are here for a very big show today. All right. It's so exciting to have everybody join us. This is Vinney Chopra and BeauEckstein, my partner from Las Vegas. I'm in the Bay Area. We come at 9 a.m. Sorry, we have to get that introduction changed with our, help, with team's help. And welcome, Beau, and our very good friend, Bill. Bill Davis is also in the house. As you know, this whole month we've been talking about marketing, talking about how to build the brand and what it's going to take us to really go to the next level in getting more leads, closing more leads, and building our brand equity on the internet. I put a little post this morning because it's so important to gather our customers. Beau, how are you, bro? What's happening this week for you? Yeah.
Oh, it's already Friday. It's amazing how fast these weeks go. I'm meeting with Bill tonight. We're going to get some work done, but really, I think the marketing component is a good relevant thing, especially because we're still in the first month of 2023. And some of the things I wanted to talk to Bill about is we used to do press releases, and we haven't in a while. But I was listening to a podcast actually this morning, and the guy he has a distribution. He syndicates the press wire, one of those big ones.
Yeah.
There's only 3 real wires that send out press releases, but press releases are super powerful for Google search and Google ranking if you have something to share with the audience. And sometimes if you do it right, the media outlets will actually pick it up and do a story on it. So I want to revisit that, and kind of like it got my mind opening up, like about the real estate meetups we do, right? A press release around that, maybe a press release around SBA financing and the uses, and like how we're seeing during the pandemic, we saw like I think it was over a 30% surge in new business starting. Okay.
Wow.
So I think that trend is going to continue. Somebody's got a little bit of feedback on their speaker. We're going to talk. We're going to dive into press releases, email newsletters. Email is not dead, and a lot of people aren't respecting email. I think we should talk about email newsletters. We could circle back on blog posts and possibly using ChatGPT to make the process quicker. I wouldn't say use exactly what ChatGPT says. And Bill and I discovered something called prompts. I'd like Bill to talk about prompts. So anybody who's going to start using AI technology, the real masters of AI will need to know how to use prompts. And Bill's working on a Chrome extension to make the process easier. So Bill's going to have a Chrome extension for like, hey, write a blog post article, and it'll be a prompt for the AI to write the post the correct way. So there's a whole new emerging market of people that are going to be able to be really good at the prompts, is what kind of is the control of the AI technology. So you say in your prompt, you write like, I want an SEO blog. There's certain text you put in there, and it delivers the blog post with H1 headers and things like that will be identified on search and indexed more efficiently for SEO and things like that. So it's amazing what we're going to be able to do. So I think we should touch on that. And then, you know, if you don't have a podcast or a video blog, you're probably missing the boat, right? Everybody needs to be, you know, sharing messages on shorts. I mean, most people are doing shorts and reels. And if you're doing shorts and reels, you got to realize that most people they scroll with the sound off. So if you're not doing text, that's why a lot of people say, hey, I want Alex Hormozi text on my reels, because people are just looking at the text. They're not listening to what you're saying. So that's another big one. And then let's talk about, you know, the general tips for small business owners. So like, what else can you do? Let's not forget about belly to belly meetings, virtual meetups, live meetups. So let's first kind of go in with press releases, Bill.
Yeah.
And I know we haven't really done a press release in a couple months, but I'm going to share the podcast I was watching this morning, and I just want to get your feedback of like where you would see press releases, the uses for that for a business owner.
Yeah, so I think you touched on probably one of the best or better uses of press releases, and that is you don't really want to use a press release. I know this goes contrary to what a lot of marketers say, but you don't want to use a press release as blatant promotion, right? It needs to be informative, because you need to remember who is your audience with a press release. It's really the press. So it's a way for the press to get information about you, your company, your event, something important that's happening in the industry. It's a way for you to get their attention. So you have to write for reporters and the press, and most press release platforms are very strict. They don't want spammers on their platforms. And you will find that the more expensive the platform is to get on, the stricter it is and the better it is, and the more kind of juice you're going to get out of it. There are some free ones out there. There are some fairly inexpensive ones out there that get the job done, but they're not going to get wide press coverage. You may get published on, you know, online newspapers and stuff like that. That does work. But the better press releases will actually get the attention of, you know, the press, newspapers, online magazines, reporters, that kind of thing. And it can be good for SEO, because you're going to put a link back to your site or your business or whatever. But just keep in mind that what the purpose of a press release is. Now, what are some good uses for press releases? Events. Like Beau had an event on Wednesday. He's having another one on the 8th of February and another one later in the month in February. Those are ideal things to cover in a press release. And press releases are informative. You basically tell the who, what, why, where, and when, right? These are the facts. This is what we're going to cover. It's no blatant promotion. It's no, hey, come to my business, I'm great, look at me. This is the event. This is what we're going to cover. This is what it is. This is where it is. And a little bit of background. That's it. They don't have to be long, but they do have to be informative. So events are great. You could do it for virtual meetups or in-person meetups. Maybe you have an event with the Chamber of Commerce, or I know, Vinney, you had a talk yesterday. You could have done a press release on that. You know,
I should have. Oh, could we do it after the fact, or no? We cannot.
You can, but it's not going to be effective. Nobody's gonna show up to an event that's already happened.
I
But
agree.
it can plant the seed that, Vinney does talks in front of, you know, certain groups of people, and the next one is in March or whatever. So events are really good.
What about like if we're just looking at Vinny like for his academy, right? What if there was a press release on one of his students closing a big deal, and they talk about, and you reverse engineer it, and you talk about you know Ted Smith and his partners at Global Equity LLC just purchased a 267 unit building. Ted Smith was a doctor and wanted to get out of the corporate world, and took some training at Vinney Chopra's syndication academy. Could you tell a story like that? I think that would have some meat and potatoes for, like if you're reverse engineering, right, this whole process of like, this would be a good piece. Not only may it get picked up by media, but also it'd be a good piece for Vinny to share with everybody on his social channels. Like, hey, this is a student. It tells the story of like, why he got into multifamily, why he wanted to get into multifamily syndication, financial freedom, and it talks about getting a mentor, and then not only may that get picked up with like Yahoo News or something like that, where now you're getting some social proof because you're getting on big online distributions, which then you can share the distribution from like Forbes or one of those big outlets, right? And it's about you and your students. I think that would be kind of cool, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, you could use the syndication of those press releases as kind of a quasi testimonial. It's actually a better, it's a more objective testimonial than a student saying, oh, Vinny was the best and he's great and I love. This is actual proof. I took his course and these results happened. So what I would do if I were Vinny is I would say, encourage your students to submit press releases when you close, and you could use the syndication, like say this was published on the New York Times or wherever. You could use those URLs in your marketing materials to say, look, I have 17 students with these press releases who have done X, Y, and Z. Here's the proof. Give this course a chance, and I think you'll be happy, and you can, perhaps see similar results.
Thank you. Yeah, no, great ideas.
Yeah, so I mean, that's the purpose of why we're having Bill on these shows, is just to open up your mind.
Yes.
Like, listen, we're in the industry of being a media agency. Like, whatever you do, whether you're syndicating deals or you're doing loans or you're selling widgets, we all have to get the message out. And I think there's an art to getting the message out. Instead of like me, you do it you're still doing me, but you're being like, it's more of a ninja. It's more of a ninja approach to promoting yourself, right? Like, I always say it's so much easier if Vinny promotes me than if I try to promote myself, right? Because Vinny's authority in a real estate space, if he gives me a testimonial or props me up, on this online thing, it's a lot more valuable than me tooting my own horn. So how do we do that? And that's why, like, when I heard this podcast again, Bill and I used to do press releases for our REI bar camps, and we would get, it would be amazing to see all these publications. And then we also used to do, when I did the TV show, Bill, remember we used to do help a reporter out. There's where you can write articles. These reporters, they ask for an expert in, say, multifamily, right? And then you write an article in that space, and it syndicates out on whatever platforms. So Bill and I did that a few times for the real estate business, and we got into a lot of publications. Like, the point being was, I wasn't the main star on the TV show in 2013 on HGTV, but since Bill and I were good marketers, we got more internet space than any of them did, right? You understand what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't like, I was in it as much as like the other two characters, but because we were utilizing marketing strategies, we got a little bit more broadband
coverage.
Space. Yeah, so that's what I always suggest is, like, anything you're doing, right? If you're doing a meetup event, how do you get the most press out of it, right? Obviously, I saw this multifamily syndicator today. Actually, he had an event in Texas, and the place was, he had a picture and it was packed with people, right? And he wrote like a little blurb. Like, to me, that is amazing social proof. Like, hey, I'm putting these big multifamily events on it, monthly, these meetups, and now I had 250 people. The room was packed, right? Like, everybody wanted to come. And so that's like sending signals to everybody's minds. And so there's a lot of like techniques that you can do. I call it silent brags, right? Like, you don't want people to think you're bragging, but you want to do it in a silent way. I think that's very important. Let's kind of touch on the next topic that on the agenda here. I think we should definitely. I'm actually interested in going back and doing some press releases. Let's talk about email.
Can I just add one thing about press
Sure,
releases?
Please.
Going back to the events and thinking very locally. Think about how newspapers, for example, there are very few. There used to be 3 or 4 local newspapers in every town, it seemed. Now there's maybe one.
Maybe
right?
one, maybe, yeah.
But they're hungry for stories. They're hungry for press releases. They're hungry for knowing what's going on in their town or city. So if you're a local-based business, which most of us are, you can get a lot of play with press releases because the local media channels will have a much higher chance of getting picked up by them than one of the national. Now, if you get a national one, that's great, but don't bank on that. What you can bank on, though, is getting some of the local ones to publish your press release. And that, in the eyes of your local audience, means a lot, because if you're out there all the time and your name and face and business name are out there all the time, people are going to naturally remember you. And they call it top of mind. Who, if you're a real estate agent and you're competing with, let's say you're in Bakersfield, California, you're competing with 100 or 200 or 300 other agents. If they're not doing these things and you have a much greater chance of being noticed, remembered. It's kind of like the whole thing with a politician. The more signs you see on the street, the more likely they're to be elected, especially if it's a local election, right? So that would be my recommendation. If you're local, try a press release or two, see how it works for you, and I think you'll be surprised.
And if you're trying to get local business, like, I don't necessarily do local business, but if you're a local brick and mortar business, I don't know what they changed your name to, but they have like Google My Business, right? Where you're sending in your location, you're verifying with Google, and it goes up in the top of the search index. So if you have like an HVAC company, people are looking for a HVAC company in Las Vegas. If you do that and optimize your Google profile for your business, you're going to show up for free in that search. So that's another thing for Google businesses. But let's talk about the power of something that's, I think, forgotten, which is email newsletters, right? Like, I always wanted to do it. Bill and I always talk about me doing it. We never do it. Well, we do it and I would lose focus. And I said, okay, let's just do it. Like, let's do it. So we decided to do it twice a month now, right? And it's very simple. We're using Aweber, and Aweber is like a CRM, and you can build opt-in forms. You can do a lot with Aweber, but you can build a super easy newsletter, and you can have this go out all the time. So what do you put on your newsletters? If you're a loan officer or whatever, recently funded deals, events that you're hosting that are coming up, articles on tax incentive programs, like anything relevant in your space should be sending out. That should go out to your CRM once to twice a month at minimum. I wouldn't be doing it like every day, but I do think like the more you stay in front of your sphere of influence and grow that list, then the more opportunities, because you never know when somebody's looking for a loan and I happen to send a newsletter and they see, this Beau just funded a loan in Central California. It was on a mixed use property. I have the same type of property in a different location. I need a loan. So I think that's been working very well. So I would suggest anybody who is in some sort of sales, right, and needs to get their message out, whether you're a multifamily syndicator or you're an affiliate marketer or you're a loan broker or you're a real estate agent. If you're a real estate agent, obviously you can send stats on the market, right? Like, hey, this part of Las Vegas in this zip code, it has, this much inventory on the market. Here are the pending sales. Like, people will look at that. And then you can also include links to I include links to some of my YouTube videos that I recently interviewed. So then you get more views on your YouTube videos, right? And then you might get some more subscribers. So all this works really well together. What are some tips on email newsletter you think people would be interested in, Bill?
So again, it goes back to being helpful, being informative, telling people what is going on in their world, helping them find solutions to their problems, right? Hey, I just did a YouTube video that talks about this. Well, maybe that's one of their problems. Maybe that's one of their challenges. You can segment your lists in all sorts of ways in Aweber and other email service providers. You can make it really complicated, really complex, or you can do it real simple and just kind of like do a buffet type style newsletter where you're kind of throwing a lot of different things out there, and people can pick and choose what they want to read because it's easily scrollable. It's email. It's easily scrollable. People can click on a link to a YouTube or to an event you're hosting, or maybe you're giving a talk, maybe you're a guest speaker and you want to let people know that, hey, I'm going to be here on X date. I'm going to be talking about this. It's very non-intrusive. Email is very asynchronous, meaning people can respond to it or react to it whenever they feel like it. It's not like a text where they feel compelled and obligated to get back to you. It's just here's some information that I think could be helpful to you. Consume it however you wish. I would say frequency is always a question. Like, how often should I email my list? Well, it depends. How often does your email list want you to email them? And you can ask that question, and you can even set it up so that instead of sending a weekly email, for example, you can say, hey, do you like these weekly emails, or would you rather get like a digest once a month? And people can opt into that, and then they just get the digest once a month. You can also set it up so that we have a feed from Beau's YouTube channel. Every time, let's say within a week, let's say he publishes 5 YouTube videos. Those 5 YouTube videos get rolled up into an email newsletter post. And it can go, and you can set it up to go out automatically every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. You can do all sorts of things, all sorts of automations. I would just make sure that I'm not emailing too frequently, like more than once a day is a little much. But more importantly is a lot of people forget, or they don't set up systems and calendars and schedules, and they go 6 months without emailing somebody. And guess what? Your competition's probably emailing more frequently than that. And they're, as a consequence, staying more top of mind than you are. The whole idea is to stay top of mind.
It's amazing, Bill. I mean, certain lists I'm on, brother, I get an email every day from some people, and I get email maybe every 3 days, let's say. But is there like some I mean, how long how long it should be, the email also? I hear that people say, okay, just do 1 page or 2 page at the maximum with some links. What do
Yeah,
you
I
say?
mean, I don't put a lot of credence in the length of things because, like I said, emails are easily scrollable, and if you include enough white space and bullet points and kind of like dividers and sections, people can read what they want to read. It's like when you go to a buffet, you don't have to eat everything there. You can pick and choose what you want to read or what you want to eat. And I would, and again, an email, is there really such a thing as a page? Not really, unless you print it out. So if you're on your phone, you're just scrolling, right? And you see something interesting and you pick it. So I would probably limit the number of different things I talk about to maybe 5 or 6 things at the most. But I also encourage you to always have a call to action. We always have a book with Beau link in there somewhere. It could be in the recently funded. Hey, if you're looking for a deal, or if you have a financing challenge just like this person did, and we just closed this deal, maybe you want to book a call with Beau because he can help you out. Always one call to action, and maybe 5 or 6 topics at the most.
Yeah, it's interesting. Somebody just texted me, like, it was a screenshot. Somebody was asking, "Hey, do you do these type of loans?" And my friend saw it and just sent me a screen capture. He goes, "Do you do this?" I go, "Yeah." Right. So it's interesting too. Like, how do you get more people like this guy to send you deals, right? And obviously, I didn't even realize he sent me a deal that I just recently closed, and then he said, "Hey, I'm glad you got it done for my friend," and he was the one who referred it to me. So I think that's important too, where I probably dropped the ball on that too, is asking for referrals and letting people know what type of people you want referred to you, right? Like, how do we, and that could also be um, put on the newsletter, right? Like, hey, if maybe you don't need, but if you know anybody, we build a referral site, referral link. So like on every message that goes out to certain people that booked a call with me, it's kind of like, and oh, by the way, if you know anybody that's looking for financing, you can easily refer them here. And we created a link, investorfinancingpodcast.com/referral. And then now they have instructions on how to refer people. Because some people, it's funny, people like say, "Hey, is it okay if I refer you somebody?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's how I love it. That's how and so it's interesting that people ask, like I would just refer it. But like, so that being said, is that you need to make it clear, like what type of people. So if Vinney's looking for more investors, he makes it clear to his other investors, "Hey, oh, by the way, if you have anybody else in your network that might be looking for a good investment opportunity, please send them my way. I'll send you a gift card to Fleming's Steakhouse." Well, whatever you can do with securities and all that stuff, but you know what I'm saying. Like, there is huge opportunity there. I mean, really, it's an endless amount of opportunities, wouldn't you say, Bill? Like, but the problem is that I've dealt with, that we're not now, is that you have to create a system and make it simple to do whatever you're going to do, right? And like, that's really what we've focused on the last 6 months, Bill and I, is everything. If you can create a system to something that you're doing repetitively, it becomes easy. So like, when somebody books a Calendly call, we created 3 short messages. Like, after the meeting, they're either like, "Hey, this is a dud," kind of, this is a general email that will go to them. There's no specific action. I'm still sending them this with my contact information. And oh, by the way, if you know anybody needing financing, here's the referral link to do that, right? Like, so like, how many opportunities are we missing every day because we're just not doing these simple things? So everything that we can do that could improve the turnover, the conversions of what we're already doing already, right? Like, how do we take our network and make it maximize the effort of this network? It's like, we probably don't even need any more people on our network, really, if we just optimize our network. So yeah. I think that's a good point. Like, okay, we have, Vinney's got 530 investors. Okay, well, he could go out and do all this, blog, but maybe what we're doing is like, you're getting Bill to write you some copy to go out to your investor list that have been with you for 5 years and say, "Hey, by the way, there's nothing that I like better than a referral from one of my investors, because you've been with me for 5 years and it means the world to me." I don't know the language yet, but you get the point. So what I would say is, like, you should craft that email draft, segment your list of 530 investors to your core 100, right? You have probably 100 that have been with you for a long time, and send that newsletter or send that email to them, or maybe as a video message, and just see what happens, right? All of a sudden, you just got another $3 or $4 million in investor capital, and yeah. You're not like going out and having to like sell yourself, right? Like, that's the easiest low hanging fruit. So how do we all do this for our business? I think you really got to strategize what you have right now, what you're working with. Like, for example, I have like 900 Calendly people, right, that have booked calls over the last 2 years, and I haven't been doing anything with them, right? So it's very simple to me to go, okay, I've been telling Bill, like, we got to do something, right? We're going to finally say, okay, well, now we have a little bit of time. We're going to send an email or we're going to add them to our newsletter, or we're going to segment this list and do a special newsletter just for this list of people, right? And what is that going to lead to? That's 900 people that I've talked to in the past. Maybe they weren't ready to pull a trigger at that time. What will that lead to, right? So, like, I think we can start with what we have and work our way out. And that could be as simple as like, hey, we just did a press release. Let's share it with this audience. Mm-hmm. And now we're getting some social proof that my coaching student, my syndication platform, just closed on a 267 unit building, and he just got started a year ago. It's amazing. Or, hey, this guy started my coaching program. He had 50 units or 100 units, and now in a year and a half time, he has over 500 units. You know, those are stories to be told. And if you can do it as a press release and share like a press release from like Forbes Online or Entrepreneur Online or Yahoo News, that makes it even more powerful. So these are all the things that why this is what when I meet with Bill, we talk about stuff like this, and then we just implement. Like, how do we implement this, right? Like, how do we get this out there? And I mean, it's just amazing. I think our next topic should be, Bill, if you don't mind, just high level. I mean, we probably shouldn't go in the weeds on this, but if you look everywhere right now, everybody's talking about AI, and every post on social media is AI. And it's like, it's changing the world. Okay, it is going to change the world in certain ways, for sure. If you're going to use the technologies that's there today, Bill, will you kind of explain like what a prompt is and how like that can make you way more efficient if you're using AI?
Yeah. So AI, particularly ChatGPT, it's based on OpenAI, right? It was trained on 500 terabytes of data up through like 2021. So it doesn't know anything past that. They're building a new model now to retrain the model, or ChatGPT. But ChatGPT is only as good as the data that's within its ecosystem, right? And furthermore, if you tell it, for example, this is one way to do things. You could say, write a blog post about real estate investing. It's going to give you a very good, pretty grammatically correct, probably informationally accurate, but very dry and boring and information that probably most people already know. However, if you say, write me a 1,000 word SEO optimized blog post about some smaller aspect of real estate investing. Let's just pick a thing, multifamily real estate investing, right? And then you say in your prompt, the prompt is basically what you're telling ChatGPT to go out and do for you. I want you to, and I've seen this work really, really well. I want you to pretend that you're a multifamily investing expert. I want you to go write me a blog post that's SEO optimized, 1,500 words about some aspect of multifamily. Maybe it's financing, maybe it's SBA loans, maybe it's SBA. The deeper you go, the better information it's going to bring back. You have to check its accuracy, but the better information it's going to bring back, and the more interesting and targeted it's going to be for that blog reader who finds that article, most likely through Google. So you tell it this detailed prompt. I want it broken out into 3 sections, with H2 headings, about with this topic, and this topic. Give me a conclusion and a call to action at the end. It's very good. It will come back with something that's probably 80 to 90% done. You take that, you copy and paste it into your blog software, and you edit it. And you might add some things. What I found out yesterday was you can even prompt it, and you don't have to prompt it all at once. You can say, do this, and then it writes you a blog post. Now add this. That's your prompt. Now add, keep going. One prompt is keep going. It'll keep typing. It'll add to the story. one thing I found yesterday that is it can actually find if one of your prompts are, now go find me 3 images that have Creative Commons licenses and insert those into the blog post. And it will rewrite that blog post with those pictures in there. Now, sometimes the pictures are pretty hilarious. I was doing kind of a mock one that said how to write the perfect blog post. So it wrote me a blog post about how to write the perfect blog post. Now I said insert some pictures about this, and one of the pictures was a picture of a post, like an actual post. And it's like, well, you didn't understand that. That was kind of funny. But the more detailed you can get and the more specific you can get with your prompt, i.e. what you're telling ChatGPT to do or any of the other tools, AI tools, the better information you're going to get and the more likely you are to get indexed and ranked on Google and consequently found by actual real live human beings who are interested in what you're talking about. Like if somebody typed in to Google, how do I write the perfect blog post? I bet you I would rank on the first page, like after a day or two.
Sure, sure. So true, Bill. And I know, thanks for sharing all those great assets. I've been just mesmerized with this chat GPT. I mean, you know, it's so wonderful and it's going to be a new edition coming up. I know Microsoft is putting billions of dollars, I heard,
Yeah,
into this, and this might even take Bing to a new level, I heard, right?
it
Yeah.
is. I was watching a YouTube video yesterday with the CEO of Microsoft, and he was saying
Mhm.
already they're using OpenAI
Mhm.
technology and they're inserting it into all of their Office products. So Excel,
Wow,
Word,
wow.
PowerPoint, all of those things. Another great thing that I just wanted to mention is, and it ties back to what Beau opened with, which was I'm going to create a Chrome plugin. I've done this before with other
Trump,
things,
yes,
but I'm going to create a Chrome
yes,
plugin that has a bunch of prompts for especially bloggers to
yes.
write really good prompts for ChatGPT so it can go out and write you really good blog posts, do keyword research, all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
The interesting thing is, I asked ChatGPT, how do you create a Chrome extension? And it gave me the answer. And I said, how would I write a Chrome extension about X, Y, and Z? And it gave me the answer. How would I do? And it gave me all the answers. And all I really have to do is copy and
Wow.
paste a little bit of code, create a couple files, create a couple folders, and submit it to
Yes.
Google. And it'll be available in Chrome shortly once I get it
Oh,
designed. But it did all the work for me.
awesome. I
Amazing.
love it. I love it. Amazing. Totally amazing. Hi, guys. Everybody watching us now or later on in the podcast, please comment, like, share this content. This year belongs to those who will take action. 2023 is a great year in real estate and all other avenues in growing your sales. I hope you like the content. We come live to you every Friday, 9 a.m. That's the new time Pacific or 12 Eastern. Bill, thank you so much for so much knowledge. And
Thank
Bo,
you.
brother, I mean, this is amazing. I know I'm so fired up because, Bill, you're helping my business to reinvent the wheel. And I really believe in reinventing the wheel because if you keep on doing the same thing over and over and over again and expect different results, that's the definition of insanity.
Right.
Insanity is not changing, not cutting with the time, not using the different, tools that are available to us. So
Yeah.
I'm so happy that you've joined my team also, and you've done wonders for Bo's team, Bo's, whole perspective business for last 10, 12 years. We have known each other. And if anybody would like more information, Bill, how can they reach you, bro? Yeah,
Just go to that
yeah,
URL that's by my name,
right
Internet
there.
Marketing Hustle,
Yeah,
and you'll
yeah.
see a button at the top that says contact me. Hit that button,
Excellent,
fill in some information.
excellent.
I'll contact you back.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much for joining. Bo, any last comments, brother?
No, I just think that these conversations are more for me than anything, but I think anybody that watches this is watching an hour in the future that just take note, just think about where reverse engineer where you're at, like where you're getting your deal flow from or whatever business you're in, and how can you make it better, right? Like my KPIs are pretty simple. You know, the more blogs and the more videos I produce with good content in certain niches, the more book calendar appointments I have, right? Then it's just a numbers game, right? It's just like out of those 10 people, maybe like 3 or 4 need money today, right? The other 6 or 5 people will need money in the future. So I still need to stay in front of the people that don't need it right this minute, but I need to help these people first. So it's the more fishing lines you have in the water, the more leads you're going to get in whatever business you're going to get. And that's what I like that's really what I like in business is actually figuring out how to make the phone ring, right? That's the real cool thing. It's like, how do you make the phone ring and then convert it to money, right? That's what we do. We whatever we're doing is in some way converts to money somehow, right? And so how do we do that in a better way? Whatever we're doing, whether you're a plumber, you know, maybe you own a plumbing business, right? You can do local SEO. You can do video blogs. You can rank on YouTube. You know, best plumber Las Vegas. There you are, number 1, right? Like testimonials. I mean, there's so much you can do. So you really, if you want to be top of class, you got to do all these tactics, right? Or pay somebody to do it for you, for your business.
So true. So true. Thanks again, everybody, for watching. We'll see you next week, 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 Eastern. Thank you.
Thank
Happy to be on your show finally.
I'm a long-time fan and I watch all your guys' content.
It's awesome. We're very, very, very invested in our community.
It's wonderful to be here.
This is Vinney Chopra and also my good buddy BeauEckstein. And we are so happy.
It's amazing what's going to happen. So, we ramped up to do the show, and we got a lot of hype about the guest today, so I'm excited.
I know. So excited to come live to you all.
Live 9:30 every Friday. How to take your business to the next level.